Cloud Nine is a two-act play by British dramatist Caryl Churchill, first staged in 1979. The opening act is set in colonial Africa during the 19th century, while the second act shifts to London in 1979. Yet, although a century passes between acts, for the characters only 25 years have elapsed. This deliberately disjointed structure enables Churchill to examine how oppression across race, gender, sexuality, and imperial power has shifted and persisted through the 20th century. The theme is reinforced by Churchill's unconventional casting. Each role is played by a different actor in Act 2, often of the opposite sex, and in Act 1's, the African servant Joshua is played by a white man. The play begins in the household of Clive, a British colonial administrator in Africa. His family, wife Betty, their children Edward and Victoria, the governess Ellen, Betty's mother Maud, and the servant Joshua, join him in singing a hymn to England's greatness. Afterward, Clive recounts his day, having settled a quarrel between local tribes. Betty complains of Joshua's insolence, prompting Clive to chastise him. Visitors soon arrive: Harry Bagley, an explorer just returned from the interior, and Mrs. Saunders, a widow seeking refuge from native unrest. Betty and Harry immediately begin flirting, their attraction long established, yet Harry soon slips away with Joshua to have sex. Clive dismisses Mrs. Saunders' fears of rebellion, follows her outside, and performs oral sex on her before returning to the family. He raises a toast to the Queen, then plays catch with Edward, becoming uneasy at his son's clumsiness. When the game turns to hide and seek, Edward privately asks Harry to rekindle their sexual relationship. Meanwhile, Ellen confesses her love for Betty, who only has eyes for Harry, and dismisses Ellen's declaration as foolish. Clive leads the men out to punish the natives, followed by a troubled Mrs. Saunders. Inside, Ellen strikes Edward for playing with a doll. When Clive returns, Edward apologizes for his behavior. Clive then detains Betty, accusing her of an affair with Harry. He sermonizes about the perils of lust before magnanimously forgiving her. Turning to Harry, Clive discusses rising unrest, only for Harry to attempt to seduce him. Clive recoils in horror and hurries off to court, Mrs. Saunders on Harry's behalf, hoping marriage will conceal Harry's homosexuality. She refuses. At that moment, Clive hears that Joshua's parents have been killed by British troops. He offers condolences, but soon resumes his matchmaking and forces Harry to become engaged to Ellen. During the engagement celebration, Mrs. Saunders announces her departure. Clive kisses her farewell, provoking Betty to lash out at her rival. Repulsed by such behavior, Clive expels Mrs. Saunders. As he raises a toast to Harry and Ellen, Joshua silently levels a rifle at him. Only Edward sees, yet says nothing. The act ends in blackout. Act 2 begins a century later, but with the same characters aged only 25 years. In a wintry London park, Victoria arrives with her friend Lynn and Lynn's daughter Kathy. While the child plays, Lynn discloses her lesbian identity and asks Victoria out. Edward enters, followed by Betty, who admits she is considering leaving Clive. Time shifts forward to spring. Edward quarrels with his lover Jerry about Jerry's fear of commitment. Jerry confesses to the audience that he has sex with strangers. Victoria appears with her husband Martin, who passionately affirms his devotion. After Martin departs, Lynn returns with news that her brother has been killed in Belfast. Jerry breaks up with Edward. The season changes to summer. Victoria, Lynn, and Edward engage in a pagan sexual ritual, joined by Martin when he stumbles upon them, and the scene edges into an orgy. Lynn's dead brother then appears, recounting his time as a soldier in Northern Ireland. One by one, figures from Act 1 reemerge. Later that summer, Victoria, Lynn, and Edward are living in a polyamorous household. Betty reveals she has discovered sexual self-pleasure. Edward and Jerry re-establish a friendship. During an outing, Kathy is attacked by the Dead Hand Gang, sparking a quarrel among the adults over responsibility. All but Jerry and Betty storm off. In their absence, Betty speaks of her acceptance of Edward's homosexuality. Then Betty from Act 1 materializes, and the two Bettys embrace. Thank you for watching. If you enjoy this video, leave a like and subscribe.